everyone, it's Laura here. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for joining me today. And if you're new here, consider giving me the thumbs up as it really helps my channel. But also by subscribing, leaving me your comments, and hitting that bell to make sure you get the notifications when we have new content to share with you. And we've begun to add many of our projects to our website, so I'll leave the link for that in the description below. Alright, so let's get started as I show you how to make one of these really sweet candy colored bracelets. Now the materials we are using for our candy colored bracelet is a variety of beads. These are all within the same color range. Go ahead and use whatever you have kicking around, or go shopping. That's always super fun, and choose some custom colors to kind of mix and match and put together. We have a variety of jewelry pliers here, and then just some snips, and then this is a copper colored aluminum wire. You can go with more expensive stuff if you choose, but for me this is very economical and it works just as well, as this is really, it's costume jewelry, or that's how I wear it. It's not a high quality piece of jewelry by any stretch. So we're going to take our wire, and there's no set measurements for this, guys, as many of my projects. And this being a bracelet, of course it's going to depend on the size of your wrist. So what I'm doing here is I'm giving myself a couple of really good lengths. I'd say almost 2 full arm lengths, because not only do we string our beads, but we also have to wrap them, so you have to allow for lots and lots of wire in order to do this. To start, we're just going to create this spiral. And this one I think is probably 3 full rounds. Go ahead and do it as full as you would like, and you could actually, even as far as that goes, you could continue to wrap it in a spiral and treat it as a end bead for your bracelet as well. So that's perfectly fine. All right, finding the end of our wire, we're just going to start to string our beads, and there's a nice variety of tones in here, so I want to make sure and get a good distribution of those. So we have, try and even it out a little bit, right? So wherever I'm putting a light one, at the very least I'll put a dark one or a mid-tone, and hoping that it actually works out in the end. But I guess we'll see. And even if they're close in tone, then you probably won't even notice. Well, look at that. I'm doing actually pretty good. So I'll just keep going with that. And we're going to, let's do probably about 20 or so, maybe not quite that many, because 20 might actually be pretty close to how many beads that we have in here. And like I said, there's no set amount, as it's all going to depend on your wrist size. So we've got probably a dozen or so beads on here now. So what I want to do is I want to start to pay attention to how this is going to fit my wrist. Now you have to remember that a bracelet needs to fit over your hand ultimately, right? So it doesn't really matter how big your wrist is, but it matters a lot how big your hand is. So really, instead of measuring here, I should probably be measuring the widest point in my hand. All right, so we still got a ways to go with that. And I finished off with the dark ones, so I'm going to go with medium tone and light, and just keep adding them like this. And as I said, I kind of refer to these as being my candy colored bracelets, and I would suggest, especially if you're making them for a child perhaps, or doing them as a craft with a child, which is totally doable, guys, then add different colors, make them bright and cheerful, as in our little multi-toned pink one here. That would be really beautiful for my granddaughter. She likes her pink, that's for sure. And then so now we're getting close. Okay, so I might actually have about the perfect amount of beads here. And once you've actually got this all done, then, and you find that your bracelet is too large or too small for that matter, then you can always backtrack as well. So make sure and measure that really well before you finish it off completely. All right, so this has got to be getting pretty darn close. Okay, and I'm gonna say it might actually be a bit too big, and it is. So I'm going to remove a couple of beads like so, and then I'm just going to just lightly tack this, and by that I mean just take the wire that we're working with, that we're stringing the beads on, and just lightly pull it around where we made that loop, and that will tell you for sure. See, so I removed 2 beads, so I probably should only have removed 1. So let me straighten that kink out like that, and let's add another one in. All right, I'm going to try this again. And we do potentially create issues by creating that kink in there when we actually go to measure it. So just be warned. Okay, so now that's going to slip over my wrist like that. That's perfect. So once again, I didn't need to take away 2 beads, it was only 1. And look at how beautiful that is. That is so gorgeous. Very, very nice colors on this one. Very earthy. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this twice. And this is on the other side of where we left off, and around the wire where we did our little curly Q here. Now I'm coming up from the bottom and wrapping across the top of our bead. Do this part of the project however, whichever way feels more comfortable for you. Now there's a couple of ways that you can do this. I like to wrap across the bead like so, and that's where your wire becomes a definitive part of your design. However, you could choose to come across and just wrap tightly between the beads. So that's definitely a design variable for you, and you could do actually multiple wraps in between your beads too, and that would like really lock them in place. It would be a very solid piece of jewelry. But for me, for now, for this design, I'm laying the wire across the center of my bead, bringing the wire up from behind, laying it across, bringing my wire up, and this is going to really fortify your bracelet as well. So even though we're using very inexpensive colored aluminum wire, it is still, this will help strengthen that, because aluminum tends to be pretty soft and it can kink and break quite easily. But once you're doing something like this, it's just working that wire and it's making it harder. And It's definitely going to make for a durable piece of jewelry. So we're going to continue to wrap all the way around like this, and I'm really loving how rich and earthy this is. Beautiful jewelry for any time of the year, but as I'm filming this, autumn is creeping up on us, and of course it is our really warm, rich earth tones that we enjoy so much with this season. And once again, these are just a mishmash of inexpensive beads, but yeah, go ahead and invest a little bit of money and make these more valuable / substantial pieces of jewelry. You see how quickly that's coming together, and it's just beautiful. Just beautiful. Alright, we have completely wrapped our bracelet, and we've come to where we made this little loop, or pardon me, this little spiral, I guess is what it is, and we wrapped on one side of the spiral when we started, and we continued along like this. So we're going to wrap on the opposite side, which is right snug up against this bead that we just finished with. All right. Now I suppose if you had enough wire, you could continue to go through and perhaps, you know, start to wrap your bracelet the opposite direction. Oh, actually, that's really quite pretty. I might have to do another video on that and do a complete piece. Yeah, that's that's really quite lovely, actually. But for now, we will just finish this off. All right. So taking our snips, we're going to cut this nice close there, and these are our bent nose pliers. We're just going to take and push that down. Oh, I didn't actually get it all the way. It can be a little bit tricky sometimes. Oh, I think that's it. And as always, just rub your finger along, and if you're feeling any pokey bits, then you know you need to get that wire pressed flat. Isn't that beautiful? I really actually am quite loving this. These are definitely my colors. All right, so we've got this white one, we've got the little candy colored one, and then of course the one that we just made. And there we go, guys. There are our beautiful little candy colored bracelets. So thank you so much for popping by and joining me to make this really a great project. I really appreciate you being here. And don't forget to give me the thumbs up, as it really helps my channel. Please subscribe, leave me your comments, and click the bell to get the channel notifications when I come up with new projects to share with you guys. So for now, thanks again for being here, and I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll talk to you soon.